in terms of volumes. Let's welcome in our morning guest. Gaurang Shah is now joining us. K. Subramaniam is with us, and Amar Singh is also joining us. Subra, just before we go to the picks, what do you make of the expiry today, especially with the tax laws changing for Mauritius and Singapore treaty owners? Do you expect a negative bias today?
Well, broadly, Pankaj, I think going by yesterday's movement, though we saw the markets actually closing near the high, the premium had shrunk for March. Of course, that was to be expected, but the fact that the market went up, that probably shows some fatigue at a higher end. And as far as the FI's rollover concerned, let's not forget that they have not exactly been big participants in this rally from 7,900 thereabouts. So I think they have had some mixed buying coming about right for the last 3 months. So I think current levels, it's quite natural. Maybe the point that you mentioned that because of the tax implications, probably some roles are a little reluctant. But I think it's more or less in line with the activity that they have been adopting the last 3-4 months.
Right, but do you expect that if the rollovers don't pick up, it's a big change, or from April you expect things to be normal?
I think things should be normal, because I think now that we are approaching lifetime highs of around 90,200 thereabouts, markets may be getting a bit stretched, and we should see some profiting coming about higher levels. But broadly, I think the trend still remains positive, and I think the levels to watch out for on the downside probably could be something like a 9,050. From where actually we have seen some repeated bounces in the last few days. So that will be the level to watch out for. But broadly on the higher side, I think banking and power, I think they have been the ones which have propped up the market so far in the last few days. I think going by the indications, they are the ones likely to continue to lead the charge on the upside.
Right. So also, if you could just tell us about your top picks.
Yeah, to begin with, as I mentioned, the banking back holds the upper hand, and buy on a Karnataka bank. I think that seen some very good breakout, the Mars series, and we could be heading to levels of 147, and one could possibly buy this for a possible target of 135. The second one is PTC. The power stocks have been marching ahead, and this could be one counter to keep an eye on. Rolls have also been decent, and possibly could advance to levels of 96. Keep a stop loss of 86. And on the sell side, an NCC, which has been a laggard in the last few months and has not exactly participated in the rallies, probably could see some weakness on the downside, could see levels of 72, and possibly could be sold, but one could also keep a stop loss of 84.
Right. Gaurang, what will be your top picks?
Morning, Pankaj. Well, from a long-term point of view, we have identified 3 investment stock ideas. First one is NBFC diversified, Cholamandalam investment. Close to 1290, 1300 is the target, and quite excited about the earnings of the company in the quarters gone by, and equally excited for the quarters to come by. The second one is from the pharma, Cadila Health, Moraya resolution, and of course approvals of new launches will throw in positivity. 490 to 500 is the target on Cadila. And the third one is banking pick from a long-term investment, mid cap, small cap, if you will, bank called City Union Bank. Now, after consolidating at between 100 and 125 for a long time, we saw the stock move on fallback of great earning visibility close to about 140, 145 as of yesterday. We have a very conservative target of 165, and I'm quite sure we will be revisiting all these targets once we have positive tailwind of earnings unfolding, which is likely to throw in more upside.
All right, Amar, what are your topics?
Yeah, a very good morning. The first topic is Havells. It has rallied significantly. We've seen rally by more than 50% over the last 3 months. But overall, the trend remains positive for Havells. So it can be a buying opportunity in the range of 457 to 459 with a stop loss of 449.50 and a target of 476. The second is Hindustan Unilever. Overall, we've seen a significant rally across the FMCG space, and Hindustan Unilever still appears to be strong technically on the charts. Yes, it has witnessed some consolidation though, but overall the trend remains positive. So one can look at buying Hindustan Unilever in the range of 900 to 905, so a slight correction from the current prices, with a stop loss of 879 and a target of 950. And the third stock is L&T Finance. What we've seen is that the overall trend is definitely positive, and it's the medium term as well as the long term trend remains extremely bullish. So any pullback towards 121 to 122 level can be used as a buying opportunity with a stop loss of 118.50 and a target of 130. These are short-term picks.
Right, these are names that Amar likes. Also, stock which is in focus is Kotak Bank. Now, they had a press meet yesterday and a lot of, expectations or speculation ahead of that press meet. So, what actually came in was that Kotak has launched a new 811 mobile app. What is this 811 mobile app? It's a digital initiative. It offers full suite of banking products and it's an Aadhaar based account opening app that they have launched. Kotak expects that 8 million customer subscriber base will be doubled in the next 18 months. That's the expectation that they have from this launch. 80 to 90% cheaper cost to acquire customers via this app based solution, and that's why they are looking forward to it in terms of very high growth. Also, they have a board meet today. They have a board meet to consider fundraising. Yesterday in the press conference, a lot of questions were asked about fundraising, but Mr. Uday Kotak very clearly mentioned that just wait for the next 24 hours and you will get the details about the fundraising. Why the funds are being raised, what are they being raised for? Nothing was mentioned into that particular board meet. They have a comfortable capital ratio, so that's why the street wants to know that why do they want to raise funds. Also, just a quick program reminder: in the next 22 minutes, you will hear from Mr. Uday Kotak, the man himself, on 811 app and what essentially is that app and how it will change customer base for Kotak Mahindra Bank. Gaurang, what's your call on Kotak Mahindra Bank? Irrespective of acquisition, irrespective of new launches, investors have good faith on the promoters?
Well, over the last many quarters, Pankaj, the bank has seen some amount of outperformance, and after the acquisitions which they have already made, there was concern for 1 or 2 quarters, but thereafter I think you've seen incremental positivity coming through. With the kind of opportunity and the dynamics that the management has, we are quite sure that this particular bank will continue to create wealth for investors from a long-term point of view. In terms of acquisitions and what price they pay for such acquisitions, I think only future will tell us. Our sense is that if the economy has to grow, if the GST has to go through smoothly and implemented 1 July 2017, I think there is tremendous opportunity in the banking and finance sector from a long-term point of view. So yes, we remain positive on Kotak Bank, and we would advise buying on dips or at current levels in a phased-out manner.
All right. Let's talk about some more stocks that are in the news, and one of them is Lupin. Now, there is some
I think the pre-open session is indicating about 0.25% in terms of opening. 6 rupees, 6 points higher for Sensex and about a point higher for the Nifty. Let's just look at what opening we get. Expected to be absolutely flat. No major changes expected in terms of opening. There you go. SBI, that's up about 1 rupee. ITC is up about 0.5. Kotak Bank is up 6 rupees right from the word go. So I think there is that relief that what sort of acquisition the company would do. That is something that the markets were worried about. Motor Corp is flat. There's no change. M&M is down about 5 rupees. Infosys is down close to 3 rupees. That's Kotak Bank for you. 41,000 shares traded. I think it's the top gainer as well. So that's the relief that the market is getting at this point of time. IndusInd Bank continues to gain. Remember, it's a company which has not been in news, but they'll be one of the first ones in terms to declare numbers. That's SBI for you. 1 to 2 rupees on the higher side for SBI. Remember, it was among the top gainers yesterday as well. So it did well in the last 3-4 days and continues to do so. That's SBI for you. Let's look at some of the other names as well. Idea is down about 10 paisa. SBI is up about 1 rupee. Eicher Motors is up 43 rupees. Axis Bank is down 6 rupees. So Axis Bank, there was some expectation that maybe there'll be a deal with Kotak. Maybe that's why it was going up. That's why it's down about 7 odd rupees. Lupin is absolutely flat. We got some data which Anisha told you about IMS and what can happen over there. So that's keeping that stock busy. JSPL, it's a board meet today. We are still awaiting the announcement of what actually comes in from the board meet. So that will probably unfold in a while. Vedanta Limited, 1 rupee on the higher side, 269 for Vedanta. 1.5 lakh shares traded. They have a special board meet for special dividend. Mahindra Life goes X right, so it's 5 rupees lower. You'll have Emphasis also that will be in focus. Let's look at that. Okay, it's down about 4, so it's got that X buyback. People cannot subscribe to it now, and it's down about 4.5 rupees. Muthoot Finance is adjusting that 6 rupees to that dividend. Similar would be the case with the PFC as well. Let's look at that name. It's down about 4 rupees or so. So that's also a name which is right now reacting to that. Sharda Cropchem would also be in focus. That's about, okay, it's 2 rupees ex dividend, and probably the remaining is about the decline that one can say. Anisha, any other names that you can pick up in terms of volume action?
Well, Pankaj, some of the logistics stocks are higher today. You have Gati, Snowman Logistics, they have moved up higher on volumes slightly larger than, volumes higher than normal. So all cargo is up 1%, Snowman Logistics up 1.5%, Gati also up 1%. Some of these stocks have seen good action. Then PTC is a stock which is a recommendation from one of our guests, that's up 2%. There is still buzz surrounding the NBFC, so Bharat Financial Inclusion, Manappuram Finance, JM Financial, all of these stocks are buzzing and higher with gains of 1.5% to 2%. We also have Dishman Pharma continuing with its strong move. Amongst the real estate players, Coal Department is one stock that has been really buzzing. Even a day earlier it was one looking very good, and today also it's up 4.5% as we speak on higher than normal valuations. M&M Financial Services is down 1%. We have some profit taking coming in for Power Finance as well, which is down about 3% or so. So this is the situation for the markets, and we are at 9150 on the Nifty. The Nifty is now stabilizing. Gaurang, now how would you look at some of the private sector banks like Kotak, Axis, maybe even some NBFCs like M&M Finance or Bharat Financial Inclusion? There's been so much buzz about some M&A action picking up. We have been speaking to a few analysts who have been saying that they are seeing first M&A action pick up and then a capex revival. Now, talking about the banking space, and we had a press meet from Kotak a day earlier, and so far there has been no announcement for an M&A action, but banks are looking straight ahead with plans of strong growth. What would you do with Axis, Kotak? How important will the fourth quarter earnings be?
Well, Amisha, we've been extremely positive on the entire banking and finance, even when there was overshadow of demonetization and currency issues in terms of the circulation of 500,000 rupees note being taken out. There were concerns in terms of earnings, asset quality, etc., etc. Now, for private sector banks, we believe they have been outperformers compared to the public sector banks, and they'll continue to do that for a very long time to come. If you are of a low risk appetite and if you want to invest in the banking, then you should not go anywhere else but stick on to the private sector bank names likes of ICICI, Axis, HDFC, Kotak, IndusInd. Yes, I mentioned about City Union Bank amongst the investment ideas. We are extremely positive about on all this. Amongst the public sector banks, well, the verbatim given by the Honorable Finance Minister and the initiatives taken by the Reserve Bank of India and the Finance Ministry and the government to resolve the issues of NPA could throw in positivity. But at the same time, there is also another view that is in the market of consolidation in the public sector bank, because there are close to about 27-28 listed entities with weak balance sheet, regional players, small players. Need to consolidate them into larger banks to have a cleaner and leaner public sector bank outlook. From the NBFCs, we are positive on, I mentioned about Cholamandalam Investment, Shriram Transport Finance, we are extremely positive on. L&T Finance and Holding, which not many people talk about, has been a performer, quiet performer rather. So we remain positive on that. Amongst the NBFC microfinance companies, we recently came out with the coverage on Ujjivan Finance with a target of 520. So our sense is that all these companies will do well, and there is going to be opportunity for everybody to coexist and garner a sizable amount of market share for the growth going forward.
All right, so positive on these two counters. Amar, when it comes to the Nifty strategy, can you tell us what you're going to be doing? The fall from 80 to 100, from 90 to 100, it hasn't been retraced completely and it is taking longer. Do you think that in the new series the markets could come under pressure?
Yeah, overall if we look at Nifty, we've seen a significant rally. We should not forget that, and also we are now approaching the earnings season, the results would also be coming out. So somewhere or the other, this rally, it's good that it's consolidating, but overall the trend definitely remains positive. And what we see is that the range that Nifty currently appears to have defined for itself is 9,020 to 9,000 on the downside. That's acting as a very crucial and short-term support. Whereas on the upside, 9,200 and 9,220, 9,220, that's a level to watch out for. Currently, it's around, you can say, somewhere in between 9,150, and it's consolidating. So I would say overall, it's good that we are witnessing consolidation, because otherwise the rally would not be able to sustain itself. So I see this as a good way that the market is breathing, and it also gives some time for consolidation. And also the market is expecting or anticipating the outcome of the GST, the steps that the government is taking, and also most importantly the results season that's going to begin. So that again is going to play on the markets. And overall what we are seeing is the positive global sentiments have also helped the domestic markets, and markets definitely have seem to have shrugged off the demonetization impact. So I see Nifty overall, technically speaking, strong, positive from a medium term, long term. Short term, yes, it is trading sideways, but I see it as a positive thing. Any dip should be used as a buying opportunity. From a short term perspective, if 9,000 or 9,020, that range is taken out, then there could be some concern that it could slip towards 8,870, 8,900 level. But I would say that overall it's a buying opportunity in the market.
Right. Gaurang, what will be your view on Voltas? That's a stock which is going up in the last few days.
325, 340 levels, we had a coverage, we maintained that coverage. Target was somewhere close to about 400, 420, where it is right now. It's already there in the price, Pankaj, and we were one of the few brokerage houses who were extremely positive when just about couple of months back, because of demonetization, there was a lot of hue and cry that consumption, consumer discretionary and FMCG stocks will underperform, and there will be tremendous amount of impact on the earnings, etc., etc. Look where we are right now, and I am quite sure that with GST going through, there will be level playing field. An organized sector which throws in a little bit of competition in terms of cheap goods related to the consumer durable will be done and dusted, and the known names with customer brand loyalty will continue to exist for a long time and garner a larger market share. I would wait out for the fourth quarter earnings to see how they look, and I'm quite sure with the kind of heat that we already have in Mumbai, close to about 35-38 degrees, north areas of India would definitely be swelling. Numbers of AC sold per month is going to be equally on the positive side, and that will translate into the earning visibility itself. So as of now, if you have the investment, continue to hold on to it. For our targets revised, we will just see the fourth quarter and then revise it upwards.
Right, but right now to make fresh investments into this, returns would be more delayed.
Like I mentioned, Pankaj, since the fundamental target is in the price, it wouldn't be prudent on my part to give a fresh call over here. If you have old investment, you can continue to hold on, given the kind of bright outlook on the earning that we have, not only for the fourth quarter, Pankaj, but also for the next fiscal.
Right. Subra, what will be your call on Voltas?
So as far as Voltas goes, we have broadly seen this frenetic run up, and yesterday also it closed closer to levels of 4 and 12. And in fact, both Havells and Voltas, I mean, they are literally leading the charge. And they're very, these are all niche sector, niche companies which is actually participating. So my sense is that the near term the target, if I have to buy Voltas, probably one could keep a stop loss of 400, but this could see levels of 435, 440 in the 40 coming days. In fact, even Havells looks pretty decent, and even there I think one could look to participate. It's closed at around 462 yesterday, but my sense is that could be nudging towards levels of 480 at least in the medium to short term.
Right, but the entire consumer durable space you're saying is looking good.
I would think so, because even others like our coverage has been on Lloyd Electric. Of course, recently it was in the news for some selling of the consumer division to Havells. But the broadly the positivity remains, and I think these are all counters which should continue to be trading on the positive side in the coming days as well.
Right. Gaurang, if I just look at the top names or top performing names in the last few days, names like SBI, names like ICICI have done well, Axis has done well. Do you believe time has come to shift towards the corporate side of the banking space as well? That should also start to perform for retail to sustain?
It would definitely be a case, and our sense is that growth is going to come across the verticals, and there will be tremendous amount of opportunity for the loan book to grow, and equally so, Pankaj, as economies turn around, as policies are changed the way they are changing, and they are likely to change in the future. I think there is going to be biting power given to these sectors. There are going to be entities and authorities which will be in place to check on defaults. We had the bankruptcy law, which is one of the great game changer also, and of course with the loan book which has already gone bad, with environment turning around, I think that could turn good as well. So you will have recovery also coming through. So we are quite positive on across the verticals and contribution that the banking sector will give for the overall growth of the country and economy.
Right. So what will be your top picks in this?
So in the private sector bank, we would be looking at Axis, ICICI, HDFC Bank amongst the frontline names, followed by Kotak Bank that I already given my view, Yes Bank, IndusInd Bank. I think Subra was just referring to IndusInd Bank, Yes Bank. We are positive on there. City Union Bank is one of our investment idea that I've already spoken about. And in the public sector banks, we are positive on State Bank of India, Bank of Baroda, Bank of India, Union Bank of India, and Andhra Bank.
Right. Amar, what will be your call on PSU banks? Let's start with SBI. If I recall correct, last time you mentioned that if it goes about 283, 284, you would be interested. What will be your call now?
Yeah, overall, SBI technically is very strong on the charts, and it's breached, we've seen for the last almost 5 trading sessions. From almost 270, it's now 292. So clearly that there is buying interest in SBI, and SBI is the way it's rallying, and if it sustains above, I would say currently around 287, 88 also, it's headed higher towards its high of 315, 320 levels. So overall, I would say that SBI is strong technically, so any pullback should be used as a buying opportunity.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for taking out time for us. Always good to get a perspective from you. Gaurang, just before we go, any disclosures?
Thanks, Pankaj. No personal investment in any of the recommendations given out, but the similar recommendations are given to our clients.
Subra, for you?
Well, no personal holdings in the other stocks we discussed, but yeah, we have the same. We used to have the same which we gave to our clients.
Amar, disclosures for you?
Yeah, no personal holdings for the stocks discussed, but yes, our clients could be holding positions.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for taking out time for us this morning. Always good to get a perspective. On that note, we're taking a break. Our first after opening. On the other side, we'll get a very special voice.